Welcome everyone to the Real Travelpreneurs podcast. And shout out to our virtual audience, also known as our wonderful VIPs who are tuned in to this live recording of this episode. Now, our VIPs get to see all the behind the scenes, the bloopers of this recording, and they also get to ask our special guest questions in our private VIP Q&A at the end that won't get published to the world. All right, only for our VIP section on our website. So if you'd like to have this VIP access and more, head to our website at www.therealtravelpreneurs.com/VIP. All right, now today, I'm super excited for this one here. We have Trey Songz Drummer in the building. He's a music director for Trey Songz. He's a multi-platinum bad boy, hitman, record producer, an educator, motivational speaker, CEO of Platinum Boy Music. You seen that resume? VIPs, make some noise in the chat. Make some noise in the chat right now to welcome the King, Amadeus.
Hey. Amadeus, the crew. I'm pleased.
This thing is easy like a layup. Meeting at the top, man, ain't no people in the way up. Me and my squad, this is visual art. I just pen a few bars, lead a framer for Amadeus.
Hey, amazing intro. I appreciate that, Queen. You already know.
What's up, King? How you feeling? How you doing?
I'm feeling good. I'm in great spirits today. Excited about this conversation. I'm excited. Hopefully, it's a conversation that's full of motivation and inspiration. For those VIPs that's locked in, with us on the line today. So I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
Dope. And it's definitely going to be a conversation of value. You know why? Because we have you on the line, and you always bring value. So, guys, we're going to get into Amadeus' personal life. His career in the music industry and working with all our favorite artists, and also his travels around the world. But before we do, I just want to say that Amadeus is such a humble and giving person with a beautiful spirit. And I'm not just saying that just to say it because he's here, but every experience that I have had with him over the years has just been an inspiring and positive one. We've known each other probably since maybe 2013, sometime now, almost a decade.
Crazy.
Almost a decade. Wow, time is flying. Oh, wow. And this happened when I was, performing around New York City. And one of the showcases I did, Amadeus was there as a guest judge. And that's where we first met. And I placed in that competition. And because of that, I got to connect in with Amadeus after the show. And it was just amazing because he was just chopping it up with me and my band after the show, like we've been friends for years, and he was always giving great feedback to the artist, answering any questions I had, and just getting to know me as a person, as an artist. And he didn't have to do that. He did not have to do that, and the fact that he stayed back after the show and was just vibing with all the upcoming artists with his genuine spirit said a lot. Because after, he could have just easily packed up his stuff, job done, all right, I'm out of here, let me go work, with these amazing artists that I have working with. But no, he stayed back, and that's just amazing. And I did multiple showcases, and he was there at a few more, and he also he remembers you. And I think that says a lot because, he's busy. He works with a lot of artists, and the fact that he's intentional, and he knows how to make somebody feel important, feel special, and he doesn't, let his status and all his accomplishments, make him seem like he's better than anybody. He's very, very humble, and that's so respectable, So I have so many more experiences with Amadeus that I can get into, but I want him to, get into his story, and things like that. So, let us know a little bit about yourself, Amadeus. Who are you? Where are you from? What were you doing before you got involved in the music industry? Tell us about your background.
Absolutely. Thank you again, for being here. That introduction is amazing. Those words were definitely a blessing to me. It's funny because I remember my team will be like, yo, bro, like when stuff is over, we got to go. Like we got to get you out of here. And I've always been the opposite of that. Just to speak on that a little bit. I'm always for the people. I am the people. I love the people that feel like we're one because we are. So I just wanted to touch on that as you was describing me and hanging out after the showcase. So myself, King Amadeus, multi-platinum Bad Boy Hitman producer, blessed to produce for over 100 artists: J-Lo, French Montana, Fabulous, Remy Ma, Papoose, Lil Wayne, Dipset, G-Unit, CeeLo Green, did I say Trey Songz, Danity Kane, Day 26, Maya, Young and May, Davies, Justin Bieber, Foxy Brown, The Lox, the list goes on and on. Also, Trey Songz, music director and tour drummer for the last 13 years. And we'll get into this story later. Dre's Nightclub, resident drummer for Dre's Nightclub, #1 hip hop club in Las Vegas. Educator in regards to music. So I have a music 101 college tour, motivational speaker, king, father, hero, Black excellence.
That's right.
You know, all of that good stuff wrapped up into one. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. You know, I'll get into the story briefly to give you the best parts. Growing up, music was really big in my household. My mom and dad both loved music. My mom was more into the hip hop, gospel, which is old school hip hop gospel. My father was into, you know, R&B, soul, that pop, you know, the Bee Gees, Marvin Gaye, Chic. My mom's Africa Bambaataa, Melly Mel, Grandmaster Flash, Kurt Franklin, Hezekiah Walker, that whole type of thing. So Saturdays was very important, right? We couldn't do anything, and the youngins probably don't know or can relate to this, but we couldn't do anything until the house was clean. We couldn't go nowhere. We couldn't turn up. We couldn't enjoy ourselves if the house had to be clean first, right? During that time of cleaning, you know, each parent would have a designated Saturday to play whatever they wanted to play on the house stereo system. So one Saturday, like I said, it'd be Marvin Gaye, you know, the Bee Gees, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. The next Sunday, you know, it could be Hezekiah Walker and Grandmaster Melly Mel and, you know, different things. Me, I fell in love with hip hop, right? So moving along, they sent me and my siblings to Catholic school. 4th grade, I was able to choose any musical instrument. Musical instrument had to be drums. Growing up, I never had any ideas or dreams or aspirations to be a musician. It just happened, you know. And, you know, I was on the drums. And in the classroom, the drum teacher would play different patterns, different beats, you know, say, hey, we're going to take this around the room to see who can play what I play. And for some strange reason, I was the only one that was able to mimic everything he did, you know, on the drums, man. And it was in that moment where I was like, okay, he realized, my classmates realized, and I realized that it was something there, something unique, something special, and just a raw talent. I didn't fall in love with the instrument, just of yet. I just thought it was cool because all of the girls in class, you know, thought it was cool because I can do what the teacher was doing. So I was more into that than anything else. But as time went on, I really started to fall in love with the instrument. You know, fast forward, I'm in my church, playing drums at my church, playing drums in school, first freshman in the senior band, playing drums. And at that point, it just, the rest was history. You know, I really fell in love with the instrument, really dedicated myself to the instrument, transitioned into music production, you know, being that production had everything to do with drums and rhythms, patterns, melodies, you know, with me being a church musician. And then just tied everything in, and I loved it. Like I said, I'm passionate about it. Then the dream started. The dream started of me one day maybe playing in Madison Square Garden, maybe, you know, me playing and flying around the world, doing what I love and producing with the biggest artists in the game. Those are the dreams that I started to have. And while having those dreams, I really just put the work in. I really put the work in. I really believed in myself wholeheartedly. Knew that I had everything in me to make it happen. And I knew that God had blessed me with the gifts and the talents that I had. And I just made sure that I played my part in regards to developing those talents and those gifts and taking it to where I needed to be. And, you know, the rest was history. That was 19 years ago. At the age of about 14, 15 is when I really started taking seriously. My first placement, Foxy Brown, my Cradle to the Grave, which was the Cradle to the Grave movie and soundtrack. That was the title track that I had with her. First album, you know, that's it, right behind me right there in the middle.
Yeah, we see that wall.
You know what I mean?
VIP's pointing that out. We see that wall.
You know, so that was, you know, my first placement, first situation. And it's a blessing because that was how my journey started. It started with that record. It started with that album, that, you know, in that moment. And you know, it was exciting, but then a certain level of pressure as well, because it's like, dude, this is how you starting? Like, this is how you starting your career in production? if you're going to start this way moving forward, like it's got to be, and no disrespect to Foxy, all love, it just has to be bigger and better than how I started. And, and I definitely held those standards. And, that's my story in a nutshell. There's a lot of many different things we can talk about, but I don't want to jump the gun. I want to stay right here with you just in case any questions you have. I'm not jumping the gun, but that's pretty much how it all came about, for me.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And I can definitely relate to, it was the same in my household growing up. On Saturdays, that's the cleaning day. I couldn't even dare ask my parents, can I go hang with this friend, go play outside? I don't know, dishes clean? Did you do your laundry? Did you clean the bathroom? Is your room clean? So I knew I had to get up, get done out the way, and then I can go and ask. I didn't even waste my time because I already knew when it was going to be. And if something was happening early Saturday morning, I had to make sure I did it from Friday. Like I got up, I did it last night. Can I go? Can I go play? I definitely understand. And playing the music for me, I had really tuned into Michael Jackson. Oh, I used to study Michael Jackson like crazy, and gospel music. When you said Hezekiah Walker, Kirk Franklin, that's huge in my house. So, it's really cool, coming from the same background there. And I started with drums the same way you did, basically. I was 4th grade, but my parents sent me to private school as well. For middle school and up. But in 4th grade, I think I was like 8. I don't know, how old are you in 4th grade? Like 8 or something?
Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Yeah, right. You're right. About 8, 9. Right? You're about right. Yeah.
The music teacher came in the class and was like, "All right, guys, this is the age now where you can start joining the band." And he went around the room and asked everyone, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And think about this as a little 8-year-old girl just saying, "Drums. I want to do the drums." Everybody was like, "What?" And then the teacher, his eyes opened wide. He goes, "Okay, why do you want to do the drums?" And I remember this day like it was so clear. I said, "Because I love the way that you have all these pieces to the drum set. They have different sounds, but together they make one big, beautiful sound."
Yes, sir. Yes.
And he was just like,
right. You would think of that, right?
Drums.
Only a girl would be smart like that at that age to think about, hearing it that way. Us boys, we would think about, listen, man.
Right.
We just want to bang on stuff, bow, 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 make noise. Wow,
right.
That's epic.
And so I've been rocking since 8 years old with that, and that was great. And the same way too, how you were able to do things in the classroom in your music class that the other students couldn't do. It was the same way. The drum teacher said, "Hey, do this beat on the drum set." And I just hopped on, did it, and everyone's like, "What? Who is this little 8-year-old girl already rocking out on the drum?" So when you said it, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And to think, I almost left drums to play the saxophone.
Yo, now here's the thing. Here's what's crazy. I jumped over that part because I don't know how we were doing on time, but that I wanted to learn how to play the saxophone and the trumpet, right? Mm-hmm. And I skipped this part of the story just to get to the good part. So the day that we were able to choose which instrument we wanted to learn, I was absent. I wasn't feeling that good that day. Mm-hmm. And then when I went the next day to select the instrument, the slots for the saxophone and the trumpet were taken. Mm-hmm. And the only thing left was violin and percussion. And I didn't know what percussion even meant. I just knew I wasn't picking a violin. Like, I'm from the Bronx, man. I'm from the Bronx, from 169th Washington Avenue, from the hood. And I'm already a target because I'm going to school dressed up with the slacks, the shirt and tie, the shoes. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to add a violin to that. Then like I would never make it. You know what I mean? So I chose percussion. And then the next day when I got into the class, I saw that it was drums and everything to do with rhythm, but I had no idea what that was. I wasn't, choosing the violin. So it's crazy that, you was about to leave drum for the saxophone because I definitely wanted the instruments, I wanted to learn how to play.
Yes. And one of our VIPs, John, said that was God ordained. And I was just about to say that, there was a reason why, and that's a great example of, everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why things happen. We may not understand. You're probably at the time, we're like, "Oh my gosh, why would I get sick on the day to choose this?" And bugging out. All to know it was all part of the plan. It was all part of the plan. Now, you know what's crazy? I need to charge my laptop as well. So, John, you're going to have to cut this part out real quick so that I can plug in my... Right. Is it back on? All right, we back in. All right, there we go. All right, we gave you some editing work, John. Okay. So that was great. And I actually did violin too for a few years. while
Really?
doing the drums simultaneously. But drums just captured my heart. I mean, hey, nothing like it.
It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it.
So that was a great story there. Anybody from the Bronx? Anybody from the Bronx in the on VIP right here? If you in the Bronx, drop it. Or close. I know we got Yonkers. That's close.
Yeah. I mean, they're in the Bronx, but you know.
Someone said they did drums in school. Literally, the day of my audition was the first time I ever played. That was Beatrice. Nice. So now we know that, you're in the entertainment industry, and the entertainment industry can change you. It's not the most warmest and loving industry out there. And through all your success and your experience in the industry, you have remained solid. So, what values did you learn, or that was instilled in you growing up, that made you such a man of great character in an industry that can be really cold-hearted?
Right. Like you said, I think, you hit it on the head. I had both parents in my life, thankfully. I was raised in the church all my life. I was always taught that God is the reason I'm here, you know what I mean? And how I got here and why I have the gifts and the talents that I have. So it's just about, like you said, being taught humility, about being taught, morals and values. And I really respected it, you know what I mean? And I know it's a blessing for me to be in the position that I'm in. Many, get up and work towards it. And for some it happened, and for some it hasn't happened. And I say yet, you know what I mean? Because you just never know what life will hand you, right? So for me to be where I'm at today, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful. And of course I've earned it, and I worked hard and all of those things, but I'm still extremely grateful because it didn't have to be me. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people that started off good and didn't end up good. I know a lot of people that I came in with that are no longer here, and I'm not talking about that they're alive, but not in the game, not in music the way I'm still in it, to this day. So I'm grateful, and just like you can be blessed to be in a situation that you're in, right, doing what you love to do, you can lose it all too, and you could not be in a position that you're in, and people cannot want to be a part of what you're doing or appreciate what you're doing, based on how you carry yourself. So I think it's very important to remain humble and be cool. We're all the same, man. We're all the same. The only difference is that, our fingerprints, which sets us apart, and who we are as an individual. But, we bleed the same. We breathe the same, blood, sweat, and tears, so we're all human beings and all striving towards what we want to be and what we want to do in life. So that's just always been me, regardless of how much success I've obtained. I'll never, and I don't even have to, how people will say, I keep people around me to keep me humble. It's like, nah, I don't, I don't need anybody around me to keep me humble. I don't need anybody around me to tell me how I should be. Like, I know how I should be.
Right.
And I know how I should feel. Right. And me being positive and the person that I am, I can feel when I'm not. If I'm not me, I didn't say that right. If I'm not in this position, or I'm not giving off this energy or spirit, then something's wrong. And then it's up to people who know me like yourself and people who love me like yourself that can be like, yo, you good, bro? You know what I'm saying? Or this ain't the Amadeus I know. You know what I mean? And that's the only way where if something ain't right, it's something wrong. You know what I mean? Other than that, I'm good to go, and I'm going to always be this way no matter how high God takes me, because just like, he blessed me to go up, he can bless me. He can remove me from that position and sit me down somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
So always the way to be.
Wow. That was beautifully said. I really respect that a lot. And, it shows, your foundation shows, because you are solid, you are humble, and just by everything that you just said, just proves it right there. So now we're going to get more into your career, because I know we started talking into it and things like that. So you say you work with Chris Brown. I know you produce tons of songs for Chris Brown. And I know 2017, if I'm not mistaken, was a huge year with collaborating with Chris Brown. How did you get so blessed to connect with Chris Brown and get so many placements with him?
So we were on tour with Trey. And it was, I forgot which tour it was, man. I feel like it was a Passion, Pain, and Pleasure tour. But Monica was on tour with us as well. And one of her background singers, shout out to my brother Lonnie Bereal, super dope writer and artist and producer. He was aware of me and my production.
Mm-hmm.
So even though we was on tour together, he's like, yo, bro, I know your name. Like, I know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got heat, you know, and we just always bugged out and showed each other love. And then one day he was like, we had a break, like a few days break on the tour. And normally you can either stay on the tour bus, go to the next city, hang out there, or you can fly yourself home, have the off days, and then go back, and fly yourself back in.
Mm-hmm.
So he was going back to LA in order to get in the studio with Chris Brown, and random, he's like, hey, bro, like, make me a CD. I'm going in the studio with Chris Brown. I'll play your joints for him. And just, out of nowhere, and he, normally I'd be like a little leery, like, you don't know Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? Why you want to play my joints? But he was such a cool dude, and a dude that was just so cool, like I said, and humble, and we just had like-minded spirits, man. And I was like, all right, cool, I'll make a CD. So that's how, the introduction happened. So he played him to my music. A song by the name of Wonder Woman came out of that, and that's Tiger featuring Chris Brown. That was on the Well Done mixtape, and that's what started everything. And then from there, Chris had put out a mixtape called X-Files, and produced 2 records on there. And then he had dropped a leak record called I Can't Win. And he's kind of was talking about like him and Karrueche's relationship. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we did Tiger and Chris Brown did an album called Fan of a Fan. And I produced a song called West Side, which is the intro to that. And it just started trickling down, and then, record after record after record. And the Justin Bieber record came Christmas Eve. That was on Justin Bieber's Christmas album that Chris Brown wrote. Then came the Jennifer Lopez record, Same Girl, that Chris Brown wrote. And then all the songs that, we did 9 songs on Heartbreak on a Full Moon. We had a song on the Indigo album, Dave East featuring Chris Brown, Perfect. So it just started to just be a ton of records, that we've had together, man. So I'm grateful for my brother Lonnie for, walking me through that door and creating that opportunity. And I'm forever grateful, and always, shout him out and thank him for, bringing me and Chris together. So that's how that came about. Nice.
It's always great to have just, genuine people, around you too. Because at the end of the day, when they say teamwork make the dream work, that's really true. Even if you're not doing exactly the same thing as the next person, you just never know, how we can help each other for the bigger overall picture. That story right there is a perfect example. Now, I know you mentioned J-Lo, and I heard about a story where you hung up the phone on J-Lo one time. Man, you hung up the phone on J-Lo. Please tell us what happened there, because hang up the phone on J-Lo. Tell us about that.
So yeah, we was working on her record, Same Girl. She, wanted some string parts added to the track. And what was super dope about her was she's a person that's very hands-on. So instead of allowing her team or her manager to give me a call, she gave me a call. But I didn't know it was her. So, saw this number come through. I picked it up. I said, hey, that's with Amadeus. I'm like, speaking. Who's this? And she's like, this is Jen. And I'm like, Jen who? Jennifer. And I'm like, nothing is adding up. Us men, we be slow, man. We be slow. So nothing's adding up, right? I'm like, Jennifer who? She's like, Jenny from the block, like Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo. And I was like, say no J-Lo, and just hung on the phone.
Banged it.
Yeah, she called back, which is the cool part. She called back and was like, nah, this is really me. She was like, this is Jennifer. Hey, Amadeus. She was like, yeah, I understand. You probably like, who is this playing on my phone? But she's like, this is really me. I like to do things on my own. I like to, speak for myself. She was like, I love the song, Same Girl. So when she said that, then I knew it was her. Because I was like, she's the only one that would know about, the record and the title. And she's like, yeah, I love the girl. I love the tracks. I love the song, Same Girl. I love the track. Oh, my God, so much. You're so awesome. Like, she's giving me all of this love. And I'm sitting there looking at the phone like, yo, this is J-Lo, bro. And she's like telling me what she wants me to do and what parts she wants me to add and all of that. And she's like, how soon can you get it? And I'm like, like right now, like I'm gonna go do this right now. And she's like, all right, well, when you get it done, call me back. This is my number, like lock me in, call me back so I can hear it and let you know what I think, and then email it to me. And I'm like sitting there like, yo, yeah, man. So again, it wasn't on purpose. I am a gentleman. But yeah, I just thought it was like her, playing on my phone, and it just happened to be her. And it's funny because I haven't really spoken on this. So shout out to the VIPs that's in the building to hear this. The same thing happened with Fantasia.
Oh, wow.
We was in Jacksonville, and we was down there with Trey, and we had a show with Trey, and she was on the same bill. And one of her background singers, I know very well. And, she's a super dope songwriter as well. So we had she had wrote some of my tracks, came to my studio, that whole type of thing. And she was telling Fantasia about me and playing her some of the music that, that we had together. And we down in Jacksonville, my phone rings, and she was like, I'm trying to do her voice. She's like, hello. And I'm like, hello? She's like, hi. I was like, who is this? She's like, it's Tasia. It's Tasia. That little, I'm like, yo,
yes,
somebody,
I know that voice.
if you don't get off my phone, bro. And it was so just soft and baby-like and almost a tad irritating at the same time. Like, this Tasia. This Tasia, Amadeus, this Tasia. So again, I was like,
click.
And she called back. I don't know. Everybody be calling back, man. Like, they be giving me a second chance, man, because I definitely wouldn't call back. I'm like, oh, he just hung up on me. All right, cool.
Right.
And she called me back, and she was like, wait.
This voice.
This is Fantasia. This is Amadeus. I'm like, yeah, this is Fantasia. like the singer, the songwriter, the artist. She got that little accent. I'm like, okay, hi. She's like, I'm calling. And she names the background singer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shoot, this is really fantastic. She's like, I love the music. You're so dope. You're so dope. She's like, I can't wait to meet you tonight. I know we're performing together. And she was like, that voice is just like that.
You are cracking me up with this voice right now.
Yo. Yeah, my hang up game is I'm not one to figure you out. I'm not one to ask a whole bunch of questions. If I feel if I think you're playing over the phone, I'm just. And back then I had the flip phone, so it was really real.
Wow.
It was like a clap for real. Just close with the flip phone, banging on you, man.
Oh my gosh! Wow! So you're Mr. Banging on him, huh? But on the phone, man. Right?
Word.
Oh gosh, that is so funny. I'm gonna have to replay this part and listen to your Fantasia imitation, because that right there, that was it. That gave me life. I know the VIPs are in the chat talking about they're in tears right now, cracking up. Hilarious. So that's dope how you got to work with Trey Songz and Fantasia and J-Lo and just banging it on people. You know what I'm saying? What a blessing it is for you just to bang it on people, and then they just call you right back. They just call you right back.
Yo.
Hilarious. So now.
That is funny.
How did you get the opportunity now to be Trey Songz Drummer and then musical director for the past 10 years? More than 10 years.
13.
13.
Yeah. So we were in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I had produced a record for Mike Jones that was featuring Trey. And there was a drum set in the corner. Mm. And I got kind of just threw it out there like, yo, man, I play drums. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, you don't play no drums, bro. I'm like, I play drums, for real. And they would not believe me. They really laughed it off and just kind of gave me the hands. You don't play them. Get out of there, man. I'm like, bro, you liking the beats and the tracks that I'm giving you. How you think, I was able to create that? I'm a musician. I'm a drummer first. Mm-hmm. Long story short, we left it alone, got back to the record, finished the record. Trey went back home to Atlanta. I went back to New York. Mike was already home in Houston. And but I mentioned to Trey at that time, this is Trey Songz' first album, Braids in His Hair, Skinny Trey.
Wow.
And braids. I'm like, yo, yeah. I'm like, bro, shit you making, you gonna need a band one day. And when you need a band one day, call me. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what I said, and just left it at that. went on about life, went on about my business, production, producing, whatever, right? Get a phone call a year later from his manager, like, hey, this Amadeus. I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you ready to put the band together for Trey?
What'd you do? Hang up? Did you bang it on him this time too?
No.
I'm just kidding.
He revealed himself. He was made it clear of who he was, and I remember him because we were definitely super cool and still are. And he's like, you ready to put the band together for Trey? I'm like, mm-mm. And he's like, well, you told Trey he's gonna put the band together, and Trey is like totally 100% behind you putting the band together. He doesn't want anybody else to put it together. He wants you to put it together because you told him you was, and you was the first to ever do that. And I'm like, and the thing was, like, I kind of had spoke it into existence, and I didn't know nothing about it. I didn't know nothing about being a music director, a band director. I just played drums, and we're in the music industry, we're in the entertainment world, where you say something to somebody, you don't expect them to really, live up to it or honor their word or be men and women of their words. You say something, yes, you to death, and then nothing happens. So I didn't really expect that phone call would really come through. And when it did, I wasn't ready, man. So I was trying to like not do it and pass it off, to my bigger brother, Butters, who was already like the music director for Case, and Casey and JoJo at the time. And he was like, nah, man, how do you think I got to become their music director? Like, they gave me a chance. They gave me an opportunity. I didn't know what I was doing, but we figured it out and we grew together. You know what I mean? And, for you, I want you to do the same thing. Accept the gig. I roll out. I'll be a keyboard player, on tour. Anything, any advice you need, any information you need, behind, closed doors, I got you. We're going to be great. And I accepted the job. And, that was 13 years ago, man. So it's just a blessing because I was able to grow. Trey was able to grow. We was able to grow together. He never had a band together. I never put one together or formed one or be in leadership of one, right? So it was a moment, man. It was a moment in history for both of us. It worked out pretty good. And like I said, when we first started talking about it, 13 years and counting right now. We've been all around the world, and just to go back to my story of having those dreams of performing at Madison Square Garden, which me being from New York, that's like the staple here. You know what I mean? And I was able to do that 5 times. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And, perform at Staples Center 5 times and go around the world and perform in Africa multiple times, in Australia and all over, Europe and all over the United States, man. So, dreams came true when it came to that, all by just, me putting it out there and me speaking it into existence. And more of the story is just like sometimes, most times you're not going to be ready. You may not even be prepared, but you just got to take the leap. You got to take the leap of faith. You got to just jump and just know that you have what it takes inside of you to make it happen, right? And it's just all about whomever you're wanting to work alongside or with, being able to recognize that gift and talent in you and be willing to take a chance. So I'm forever grateful to Trey for taking a chance on me, without having any experience in that area, and allow for us to grow together musically.
Dope. That's a powerful story right there. And I also believe that that's a example of stepping outside your comfort zone, because you had never put together a band. You didn't know, you just said, I'm a drummer. You're going to need a band. Right. And you felt like you weren't ready, and you stepped outside of your comfort zone, and you just expanded your career. Now you've been working with Trey Songz, doing that for the past 13 years. Right. 13 years. And I think anybody who's listening to this, that's a prime example, guys. Step out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid. The greatness is outside of your fears. It's outside of your comfort zone. You have to go and get it. Because if you wait until you're ready, you're going to be waiting for the rest of your life. So and Amadeus right there is a living testament to that. So I'm so happy you shared that story. So for the aspiring artists out there, right? What's some advice that you would give them? Because your story is amazing. And for whether they're singers, rappers, what advice would you give them out there right now? Just a few nuggets of knowledge.
I think it's very important to just realize who you are and know who you are, and first learn to love you. You know what I mean? And learn to love your gift and understand what your gift is, understand what your calling is, and then be fearless about it and go after it. Oftentimes, we're always going to be inspired by, right? Like you mentioned Michael Jackson at the beginning of the conversation. And, there's so many people that influenced me during my journey, Puff Daddy and the original Bad Boy Hitman, right? Dr. Dre and Swiss Beats and Neptunes and Just Blaze and Kanye West, you know what I mean? And Rodney Jerkins. I can go on and on with some of the producers that have inspired me to be where I'm at today. And, you know, the thing is, it's like, you got to find you. You got to find who you are and be willing to share that with the world. You know, even though I love those producers, I was inspired and influenced by them. I didn't want to be them. You know, I wanted to present Amadeus to the world. So I think that's a very important part where, you know, give the world your true self, your true being. And that's what I feel, how people have really become successful, where it's like, you know, Chris Brown is being Chris Brown. He's going to talk about what he loves. He's going to do what he does. He dances. He's an entertainer. He's a performer. So that's what he's going to do. Trey, you know, he's going to be smooth. You know what I mean? He ain't flipping. He ain't cartwheeling. But he's going to Marvin Gaye you. You know what I'm saying? He's cool. He's going to be calm, collective, swagged out, and do what he does, you know? And so everybody has their own thing and their it factor. So it's just about finding that it factor and finding that thing, believing in it wholeheartedly, right? And putting your best foot forward. So from one being real with oneself, I think that's some great advice to give. Also, you know, be able to create and maintain relationships. I feel like relationships are very, 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 very important in the entertainment world, not just music, but just music and entertainment, whether it's acting, being an actor, actress, film, music, whatever it is, you know, it's all about relationships. You know, if you think about my career and my resume, you know, I got about 25 records and plus with Chris Brown. I have, you know, 5 or 6 songs with Fab. I have 5 or 6 songs with Keisha Cole. You notice that it doesn't just stop at one song. It's an ongoing thing because I create and build a relationship, you know, that I pray and work on and hope that it lasts forever. You know what I mean? So I think that's a very important part as well. What else can I add? You know, and just really knowing what your superpower is. I think your superpower is you being you. You know, there's only one Amadeus. There's only one shiny star. So that's what's most important. And once you realize that and recognize that you don't have to be someone else or be like someone else in order to be successful, you know, you're walking your gift and you're walking your calling. And another thing to realize is that, you know, don't compare yourself to anybody. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Don't want anybody's life or anyone's lifestyle. You know, what God has for you is what he has for you. You know, I've been pretty successful. You know, there's other producers that may, you know, I may feel or the world may feel like are bigger, you know, better, have bigger records. But I'm appreciative of my journey and what I bring to the table, you know, and records that I've made, I know have changed lives, have been a blessing to people. And it may not be the number one at charts. You know what I'm saying? It might not be the biggest Billboard record. It might not be the most selling song. And I never went after the accolades, you know, or having the biggest this or the biggest that. I never even went after being the best in something. I just went in being the best me I can be. You know what I'm saying? Like yes. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the dopest Amadeus I can be. And it ain't no competition with that because I'm Amadeus. I'm the only Amadeus. I'm my only competition and not looking at anybody else to compete against or compare myself to. So, you know, those are a few things I can share that come to the top of my mind in regards to what it takes to be, you know, where I'm at. And I think to add to that, which is what you've shared about me earlier, and I'm appreciative, is being humble and being cool. You know, one thing I've always said is I don't feel like it's about being the most talented person in the room. I feel it's about being the coolest person in the room, right? Because I'll choose, and I'll speak for me. There can be the dopest drummer in the world in the room, right? And then a drummer that's okay, right? Mm-hmm. But the dopest drummer in the room could have a nasty attitude, not be cool, not be humble, you know, just out of control, right? But the drummer that's okay can have an amazing spirit and amazing energy about him or her that gravitates towards me, that I can say, you know what, I don't mind being on a tour bus with him or her, you know, for 3 months straight.
Right.
But do I want to be on a tour bus with him or her that's acting the way he or she is acting, or as how they carry themselves? Like, so don't look at it as, yo, I'm the best. I'm the super dope and they're going to pick me. Nah, man, somebody will settle for less talent with better spirit and better energy than, you know, the dopest talent, but then an a-hole at the end of the day. So Be humble, be cool, be the coolest person in the room, not the dopest person in the room, be the coolest person in the room. Always willing to be cool, down to earth, humble, and always willing to learn.
Right. Wow, you just dropped so many facts and nuggets, not just for aspiring artists, but just for everyone in life, because everything that you said is transferable to all industries, and I know our VIPs here, they're all entrepreneurs, or majority of them are, if not all. And I know that they all got something that you said that they can apply, to their dreams, to their goals, and anyone else, who's going to be watching the recording of this, when we post this live. That was amazing. That was amazing. And so as an entrepreneur, what are some challenges that you face as an entrepreneur, and how did you overcome them?
Man, so many. I think to just start out at the beginning, it's like, the doubt be real, man. The doubt be real. And the doubt normally comes from sometimes and most times some of the closest people to you, man. And my dreams to others always seem so far-fetched. So far-fetched. To me, it was like regular. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I was like, yo, one day I'm gonna be working with Jay-Z, one day I'm gonna be working with Busta Rhymes, I'm gonna be playing in Madison Square Garden, I'm gonna be flying all over the place, I'm gonna be in Africa. And I said all of these things, man. One day I'm gonna be a bad boy hitting with Puff Daddy. And people was looking at me like, all right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I took that mentality and that response, and I made sure that was the fuel for my fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you don't think I could do this? I'm gonna show you I could do this. You know what I'm saying? So, as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, those are some of the things that you'll deal with, especially when you first start. And then of course, once you earn your spot, and then once you pave the way for yourself and for others, people start singing a different tune. And, just to be clear, man, I've never been one for revenge. I never been one to want to throw anything in anyone's faces or to get people back or to be like, look what I did. Mm-hmm. I just do it, man. I just do it. And you let success and you let, the challenges that you overcome be what shows them, like, you see,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So, that, of course, wanting to deliver the best product you can deliver. For me as a musician, it's always an ongoing challenge for me to try to outdo myself musically, to want to create greatness that will want to be selected by, some of the hottest and most successful and talented artists in the world. So, it's stressful. And I always say, man, I think creators, especially producers, are people that are told no the most. And I'll explain. I remember sending the game about 80 beats, not all in one, 10 here, 15 here, eventually totaling up to that number. And I think he was like a number like beat number 70. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, you ain't hear nothing? Right. And he was like, nah, blood. I ain't hear that one. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right. And instead of getting discouraged, I was finishing up a new beat CD, and that just dates me at that time to say I was finishing up a CD.
Right, CD, right.
And I was like, yo, I got this 15 piece that I'm finishing up. I'm actually mixing it down right now. When I'm done, I'll send it to you. He's like, all right, cool. And sent it. And that made, I think, about 85 that I sent him. And I remember getting that text, like, I found it. You know what I mean? And the moral of the story is, people gonna tell you no. And the no's are not always coming from a negative place. You know what I mean? Sometimes people hear no and think, oh, they hating on me. Oh, man, they ain't like me. Oh, they don't want me to make it. Nah, it could just be no. This ain't the vibes. This ain't the vibes I'm looking for. I don't feel it's ready. I don't feel it's up to par. The drums ain't banging. The melody ain't really hitting enough for me. The bass line ain't hitting. Like, it ain't got to be hate, bro. It could just be, nah, this ain't fit. This ain't what I'm looking for. And instead of taking it that, I didn't take it that way. I took it in a way where I know I got some heat, man. So let me just send them this last batch and see what happens. And, it worked out, man. So you got to be willing to, accept those no's, not take it personal. And like I did, allow it to be fuel to the fire, to your fire, and keep going, man.
That's amazing. And, I think that's a great message for entrepreneurs, because as an entrepreneur, you're selling some type of product or service, and No matter what industry you're in, you're going to get the no's. You're going to get the people that's not going to believe in you, especially in the beginning, because people that are like us, that are big dreamers, when we dream big, we dream big. And people that aren't used to that or that have that level of thinking, they think we're crazy, you know? And a lot of people, you know, they'll get the no's, they'll get their rejections, they'll get their close friends and family not believing them in the beginning, and they let it take them out. But you got to do what Amadeus did, right? Use all that as fuel to motivate. Let me show you that I'm not going to let you keep me down. This is my dream, and your opinions not going to tell me that I can or can't achieve my dreams, because that's just your opinion, you know.
And I'm not going to sit here and act like as if it was easy. You know, there were moments where, you know, it really hurt, and moments where it didn't really feel good. Because who wouldn't want, you know, your friends and colleagues and people that you love and trust, who wouldn't want them to be in you know, rooting for you and pushing you further towards the direction of your dreams? Like, who wouldn't want that? You know what I mean? So it's difficult when you're not getting that, and you have to, you know, kind of do it on your own, and then kind of after the fact, you know, everybody comes around. It sucks, man, but it is what it is, man. But again, through it all, have a great spirit about it. Put a smile on your face, man. Even in those rooms when you're alone and you got to shed a few tears, that's cool, you know. But in front of those people, man, put that smile on that face, man, and just show them, like, you know, you built for this, and you ain't gonna buckle, you know, regardless of the doubt and the hate and the no love that you can push through. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right. You are preaching today, Amadeus. Woo, man. All right. Now, I know you mentioned before you traveled to a bunch of places while being on tour, you know, with Trey Songz. I know you mentioned Europe, you mentioned Africa. Just give us a run on that. At least I know a lot of places, but just off the top of your head, where are some really cool places that you've traveled to through your music?
Australia is amazing. Like, that's one of my favorite places. Takes a long time to get there, and I'm sure you probably have you been yet?
No, but I've been far over there, Dubai. But I haven't gone to Australia yet.
Right. So, you know, I know you've been doing quite a lot of traveling yourself, but Australia is amazing. It takes about 22, 23 hours to get there. You know, but when you get there, man, it is amazing. Amazing. So I love Australia. Of course, Africa was amazing to go to. You know, growing up, for me, I'm from the Bronx. I'm from you know what I mean? So I always thought Africa was one huge jungle, you know, and I mean that with all love and respect.
Right.
I just thought it was, you get there, you're going to land in the middle of the jungle, the plane is going to unload, and it's going to be lions, tigers, and bears, oh my, all over. And, you know, you got to kind of fend for yourself to make it. And, it was and they have that. They have those, you know, those places, but it was a total opposite of what I thought. Like, they had tall buildings, they had Benzes and Rolls Royces and Range Rovers and people wearing Jordans. And so it was really dope to see. The shows there were amazing. You know, it's a totally different thing performing in the motherland. You know, you just feel it. You feel the energy, and you want to put on, you know, knowing that, you know, Africa is obviously the birthplace of us all, you know, and our ancestors. So to be able to touch soil there and perform was one of the greatest things ever for me there. Japan, I thought, was really cool.
Oh, Japan, nice.
Japan was really cool. I love London. Like, London, me and London, like, best friends, man. Like, and I'll tell you why. The party scene is super real. Like,
in London
is super real. Like, I mean, I haven't been there in a long time, but I had a run in London. It was so hard in a good way, where Trey would come to my parties in London.
Wow.
Like, you know how artists host and do after parties and stuff like that? Yo, I had my own parties in London, and Trey would hit me like, yo, where we at tonight? And I'm like, yo, I'm over here at club such and such. You coming? You know, all right, cool. Just so I can let everybody, you know, on the low, of course, but let the management know and let the club know you're there so they can prepare for you, security, that whole type of thing. And, yo, he will pull up because it will be so live. Like, so shout out to London.
That's the, you know, that reminded me of an experience I had in Thailand. That I went to some club. I forgot what it was called, but that party scene was lit. I'm like, am I in Thailand? I've been in any club that I've been to in America. I was like,
yo. I'm telling you, like for real.
Yeah.
For real.
And internationals, man, they know. I thought we knew how to party. Nah, that's another level over there.
I mean, you got to think, right? Like, and that's just one thing that I always share when we talk about overseas or being far away from New York or the States. They don't have us, man. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't like, you go to LA and see Jay-Z and Beyonce, going into the supermarket. You know what I mean? Or in New York, see Puff walking down the street in New York. Like, they don't have that, right? So when we go over there and bring the talent over there, they appreciate it so much, man. They really appreciate it so much. They show so much love, and accept you and just roll out the red carpet for you because, again, they're not used to having you. And when you're there, they want to show you, like, nah, we're going to take care of you out here. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? I don't know what they do over there when you come, but in London or in Paris or wherever you at, we got you. And it's always been that way. You know what I mean?
Dope. I know you were still going down the rundown, but I had to throw in that party thing. So yeah, where else? Tell us some more about some places that you've been to that were really great experiences that you traveled to.
Dubai was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Dubai was pretty dope. We was in and out. We did a show there, like a festival. That was pretty dope. Mm-hmm. Trey got to stay longer, but and sent us home. But I thought it was pretty cool. But those are some of my favorite places. Mm-hmm. Where else? There been, so many places I've been to that I can't even pronounce the names of some of the places that you see in like movies and stuff like that. But those are some of the places that I really, really love. I love LA too. I love the vibe out there, especially when it comes to just the creative, creatively. I love the vibes out there. You know what I mean? But those are some of my favorite places.
Your favorite places? Yeah, Dubai was great. I remember going there, and that was a long plane ride too. I think total was like 20-something hours, but I stopped off. Like,
I'm about to say, where did you fly from?
Out of New York. It was like LaGuardia or JFK. And what I do is like when I go internationally for like a long ride, I like to do a long layover so I get to experience another country in that same flight. So
that's so smart.
Yes.
Like for me, I be trying to get there.
Yeah.
I want no delays, yo. I just want to get there. Get me there as fast as you can possibly get there. Get me there, and I'm cool.
Oh yeah. But me, I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm all the way over here. I might as well like stop off somewhere. So I'll find like layovers that have like 24 hours. So I get like a day. So that's what I had to do at Hong Kong when I was going to, I think it was Thailand. I did a day going and coming back. So I spent 2 days in Hong Kong, and then going to Dubai, I stopped off in Baku in this country called Azerbaijan between Russia, Armenia, and France. Never heard of it. But I was like, hey, it's here. Let's go and let's explore the world. So that was pretty cool. And I know a bunch of us been to LA. I know some VIPs were talking about, we've been to LA. A bunch of us went. It was a whole vibe. So when you said LA is a vibe, oh, yes.
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is.
Oh, man. LA is great. So I want to go in now for our closing question before we move into the quick private, VIP Q&A. So I'm going to ask the closing question. And the closing question is, what is the most craziest thing that has happened while being on tour with Trey Songz? Now, before you answer this, right, if you're listening to the recording of this and you want to hear the answer to this closing question and hear the private Q&A with Amadeus, you have to become a VIP, okay? So along with being able to tune into live recordings like these to our podcast, get access to private Q&A sessions with our guests, you get automatic entries into our trip giveaways. We just gave away a trip to Guatemala. Shout outs to Justin Williams, who was our winner of that. And our next
congrats.
trip, and our next trip giveaways to Egypt, okay? Now, and get automatic entries into prizes and VIP access to events. Go to www.therealtravelpreneurs.com/VIP and become a VIP. All right, guys. So now we are moving into our VIP Q&A with Amadeus. So VIPs, you can begin sending in your questions to Amadeus right here in the chat. So we'll have them ready after Amadeus answers the closing question. And I'll just repeat it again. All right. So guys, start sending in your questions. So when he's done, we'll check that. So the closing question was, what is the most craziest thing, that has happened, while being on tour with Trey Songz?